Welcome to day 89 of Poetry Lockdown. So, yesterday we had a terrific poem from the Brazilian poet Adélia Prado, and I really thought of that poem as really kind of the birth of a poet kind of poem. And the truth is, there's a lot of poems like that that are really powerful. Um, Earlier in the lockdown, I also actually not too long ago, just about a week and a half ago, read a selection from James Baldwin's "The Fire Next Time." He's definitely been on my mind a lot over the last couple of weeks, and I know on a lot of people's minds. Um, and I was actually reading through this collection that a Cristo Rey teacher, Mark Yeoman, shout out, gave to me from Nikki Giovanni, and realized she had written a poem really about this idea of sort of becoming poet, really James Baldwin becoming himself. It's a really amazing poem. So I'm going to share that with you today. And I also just want to note, I found just after, kind of doing some research on this poem, that there is an incredible conversation between Nikki Giovanni and James Baldwin that's been recorded in its entirety. It's almost 2 hours long. I've been watching it all day. It is incredible. It's a 28-year-old Nikki Giovanni interviewing, I think like maybe 48, 50-year-old James Baldwin. The conversation just runs the range, but it was super nourishing for me. So if you're interested in either of those writers, I linked it below. Well, let's read this poem. So this is Nikki Giovanni, Making James Baldwin. What does this mean? Countee Cullen taught you in junior high in Harlem, with that great history of Renaissance, but only Langston remained. What does it mean when you know you really don't want to deliver packages or be some sort of clerk in a back room somewhere way downtown? What does it mean when you know what nobody has told you you were before him whom you call father, who didn't so much dislike you as simply not understand why you were a witness, that he wasn't first, and you had all this to deal with while thinking, maybe I'm not good looking, and maybe I'm not ordinary. Would this make you a James Baldwin? So when you are looking around and you realize you're angry because it just ain't right that people who look like you, people who are small and black and lonely but bright and funny and sweet, can't find a way in this world, and every time you do something you think is pretty wonderful, that man whom you call father is trying to grind you down to his size, which he isn't so small, as afraid of what's out there, and somehow you keep trying to please the unpleasable. So you kiddie preach in church because at least everybody says amen, and you think, have I found a place? But you know you can't find a place when people still look at what your heart desires and what your arms need as the worst sin, worser than lynching black men and women, worser than denying prescription drugs to old people, worser than withholding vaccinations from poor children, worser than anything, because even bad off want to find something worser than their pitiful lives, and they are trying to use you and your talent and your hopes and your dreams to make themselves think they are whole. Would that make you a James Baldwin? And then it occurs to you, if you are a deer in headlights, move and avoid being steamrolled. Move and don't take the hit. Move and find another place to be. Move downtown and meet people who accept you and not judge you. Move to Europe and fall in love with your love. To Switzerland and write your books and determine never to deny what your heart knows is true. Never turn your back on what your mind knows is right. Never refuse to hear the cry of the anguish nor the laughter in the blues. Do it all because this one time you go round is the only time to do it. So be a stand-up guy who stands up first for yourself, then all the people who need an arm to lean on or a heart to hear, a voice to raise for the righteousness of it. And maybe that would make you a James Baldwin. Some kind of poem, right? Um, I love the direct address of it. I love that she really speaks conversationally. I know I talked about that link to the conversation between Baldwin and Giovanni already. That moves me, and it also, to me, when there is that direct address, I feel like the readers of this poem allow themselves to say, "Hey, maybe I could be that James Baldwin," to transcend the difficulties of their own situation and step into that. And I feel like this poem about the making of a poet allows for other young artists to realize their own potentials as a poet. I think that's magical and beautiful. So thank you, Nikki Giovanni, for this terrific poem. Thank you, James Baldwin, for your witness as a writer. Thank you all for tuning in.